This is it. As it happened before and will continue to happen until the end of times, until balance between life and death is broken. The forces of order fighting against the warriors of chaos. But who will win this time? A few months ago, we all heard about this very nice collaboration that was going to happen in 2022 between Warhammer and Magic the Gathering. Since the moment I heard it, I thought it was a fantastic idea. So what if we try to do the other way around? Instead of a set of cards based on Warhammer 40k lore, we try to bring some Warhammer alive from a card. Let's try some magic. Of course, the first step was to choose an appropriate card. And I found one that really resonates Warhammer lore, a split card, Order Chaos. And the rest is history. I made up my mind in like half second to bring some Chaos Warriors and Stormcast Eternal alive. Stay until the end if you wanna see how I make this tribute to two of my favorite games, and if you like it, please subscribe. We're gonna first cut our minis. I had a rough idea of how were they going to fit in such a narrow space. Like, I knew composition-wise what did I want, but let's say I wasn't 100% confident I wasn't cutting too much. If I did, well, we'll have to fix it later on with milliput and some amateur sculpting techniques, but for now it works. Because I don't have a base to put the minis, I just drilled a small hole, and with the help of some thin wire and super glue, I put them on some cork so I could freely paint them. I want to start with the Stormcast Eternals because they are much more straightforward. I used the airbrush for the first layer of Retributor armor. And then I used contrast paint on them. Yes, I applied with generosity, but make sure it doesn't pull. Just go over all the metallic parts and especially in the recesses. When that's dry, mix your Retributor armor with a silver type paint and apply it in those areas that would reflect the light the most. This step can be as long as your pacing allows. Just start increasing the ratio of the silver paint in your mix and reducing the area that you are covering with every added layer. The more you add, the nicer the transition. And that until you get to the final step, highlighting with your silver paint. I'm using the same approach with blue. I base coat with my darkest color. I start applying my medium tone where the lights would be, but mix with my lightest color, adding layer after layer until I start highlighting with deep sky blue. The main difference between painting the armor and these ropes is not about the approach, but about shapes, because clothes don't reflect the light in the same way that metallic does, and therefore we shouldn't put our lights in the same way. The rest of the minis is quite straightforward. I painted them once again with an off-white because I wanted to use contrast paints. For me, the focal points of these minis are the armor and its contrast with the blue. Being this type of gold a bit towards orange, it makes it even more appealing to the eye, the color of the ropes. So that's where I'm gonna put the extra effort. Moving on to our chaos side, as the minis I chose are not as big as the Stormcast, I can fit a more interesting scene with the Chaos Warriors as the main protagonist, but also some leftover pieces from Nergal and Sin's armies. I didn't want to make this video a tutorial about how to paint minis, and that's why I'm keeping it brief on the explanations. But I think it's worth it to stop it for a second on the Chaos Warrior's skin, as I think it illustrates quite well an important idea when painting. I call it confusing glazing. As you probably know, glazing is a technique that consists on applying thin layers, usually for softening transitions between two colors. Like in our blue robes before. We have a lighter and a darker blue, and we apply a thin layer to soften the transitions between those two areas. And why is that? Well, because we have a very transparent color that will barely cover the paint beneath. The darker blue will be shown through a very light layer. Fantastic. But going back to our confusing glazing, that's not the only way you can use a glaze. We can use them to create effects. Did you ever see a person that had a yellowish face out of sickness or a reddish one out of embarrassment? Well, of course it's not that they had changed their skin. It's just like a soft layer, like a glaze on them, if I may say. And that's what I did with my Chaos Warriors. I put a yellow and a purple glaze on them. They are Chaos Warriors. I mean, they are people that once were paying taxes, I don't know, living in a community and so on. You get what I mean. But that one day they abandoned all that and gave up on hatred and started worshipping a Chaos God. You can make your Chaos Warriors however you want, of course, but I believe mine should not have a healthy skin tone, but rather a corrupted one, or either by sickness or wrath. Everything is shaping up, but because I don't want to make unnecessary mistakes, I decided to already put the different pieces already together. Because especially with the Chaos side of the card, there are composition choices to be made. That's why I used some epoxy putty and I pressed the different pieces on it. I think that if I would have to do this again, I'd use some polymer clay because it's easier to handle. This milliput is very sticky even if you use water, and it doesn't harden very fast. I think that the Chaos side is far more interesting, so I'm gonna focus on it. Now that everything is in place, it's time to shape a bit the milliput I used to connect the different pieces with the base. Especially here, on this arm from a pink horror. I recreated some back muscles so it feels more like something is emerging from a shapeless void. Apart from that, it's also important to have another look at the composition, now that everything is together, and to enhance the lights, the torso of the warriors, their faces, etc. As you know, it's time for details. But wait, stop. I already said I didn't want to make this a tutorial video, but rather a tribute to what these two games, Warhammer and Magic the Gathering, represent for me. So while I give the final touches and I work a bit on the podium where the card will be, let me tell you a bit more of why I wanted to do this video in the first place. For those of you that don't know Magic the Gathering, it's a tabletop collectible card game released in the early 90s, but still to this day it's played by millions of people around the world. It's a game with tens of thousands of different cards and different formats, and that's the reason I like it so much. It allows you to get kinda creative into designing which combination of cards is best. The amount of time that I have spent even just talking about the game with my friends, wow, countless hours. I even traveled on a few occasions with my friends to different cities in Europe for playing a tournament. In this type of nerd tourism we were always so hyped about. However, and despite being a game that gave me so much fun, I stopped playing it. I moved out and all of a sudden a fantastic game became just a game. At the beginning I thought that maybe the new sets or the new mechanics of the cards were not as fun, but soon I realized that what I was missing was not the game, but the time spent with my best friend. And that's the big reason behind this video. It's been 2 years that we can't play this game. Thanks a lot, COVID-19. And I wanted to pay a tribute to all those hours. So, happy birthday, mate. I guess on Christmas I will give you your birthday present, and I hope you like it. Well, that's all for today. I hope you liked this video. I know it was a bit different from my past videos, but to me it was a very special one. Please let me know in the comments if you ever played Magic, and if so, what deck did you like most. And if you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing as it will help us make more content. Bye!